thank you for tuning in to the National D.B.A. Society. My name is Dr. Melvin J. Rivers, and I'm the president and founder, and I'm so glad to have my good friend on the show today, Dr. Vaughn C. Eason. Dr. Eason, welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Rivers. I appreciate the invite.
Yes, yes. Well. Let's just dive right in. And one of the things that we would like the viewers to know is that the National DBA Society is designed for the Doctor of Business Administration. Everything that we do is about what is needed to support the Doctor of Business Administration. I don't know if you are aware, but we are co publishers of the International Journal of Management, Economics, and Social Sciences. It is a double blind, peer reviewed journal. We provide continuing education in the form of the certified DBA practitioner. We do training, we help you with networking, and you are witnessing the debut of our podcast. Well, one of the reasons Dr. Eason is on the show with us today, this morning, is because I think he's the most enthusiastic member that I have ever met. He celebrates our success. He helps us with the publishing and the marketing. And I want to present to you Dr. Eason. Dr. Eason, why don't you tell us something about yourself?
Hey, well, thank you again, Dr. Rivers, for the opportunity to not only be a part of the National DBA Society, but to share my story with our members. I retired from the Navy in 2022, completed 25 years of military service. During that time, when I went into the military, I was a lost soul. I graduated high school with a 2.5 GPA. I was barely getting by working at a factory back home in Huntsville, Alabama. And I just knew that I had to do something different. So I joined the Navy, and the first 5 years of my military career, played around, did things that, young knucklehead kids do. But after that, I met a mentor of mine, and she got me started in school the first day we met. Dr. Stacy Brown, she got me started in school the first day that we met. And every milestone that I had with my education, she was there to push me further along. Like when I graduated with my bachelor's degree, she was saying, uh, "Okay, call me when you've enrolled in your master's degree." And I was just planning to stop at my bachelor's degree. And so then when I got my master's degree, and I was on my last class, and I was calling her to tell her about my upcoming graduation date. And she had said, "Hey, I just wrote my second book. Let me know when you enroll in your PhD program." And I was thinking, well, I wasn't going to enroll in PhD program, but I just had somebody that kept pushing me, and I think that I give her credit for me being where I am today, because if it wasn't for her inspiration, her not letting me be comfortable with, hey, I made it to this milestone, let me rest. No, take a breath and get back in the race. So I credit her with everything that I've achieved.
Well, that's similar to what we're here to do at the National DBA Society. We're here to help the DBA get published, your continuing education. Uh,
Yes.
letting you know that you cannot just sit back on what you have already done. You must continue to pursue education for the rest of your life. So that's why you get involved with the National D.B.A. Society, and we will certify you as a certified D.B.A. practitioner. And with that comes the commitment of lifelong education. I'm so glad, Dr. Vaughn, that Dr. Eason, that you did have someone in your life that pushed you, because once you got to the doctoral level, you found us and you're a member.
Yes.
So we're so grateful. What has been your experience? What the National DBA Society?
Well, first of all, it gives me a group of peers that I can connect with and find inspiration from. When I got my DBA, there were not many people that I was around that had a college education, let alone a terminal degree. So connecting with the DBA gave me an opportunity to meet other professionals who had that drive and had that motivation to just be pioneers in their field. And that's what I wanted. I want to connect with people that I can learn from, that I can grow with. And the National DBA Society gave me that. It gave me people that I could lean on for advice. I go to the website quite often, so I am well aware of the journal, and I was looking at the requirements for how to publish an article with the journal or how to submit an article with the journal. And then getting the DBA practitioner certification, that was to me, that is the best certification I can have because it relates to my education and it gives me the backing or the credentials that I need to show that I am a professional, not only just with the education, but hey, I'm certified, so I have the experience to be a leader in this industry.
Yes, and maybe we need to talk about the Doctor of Business Administration degree, because we find that there are a lot of people that they don't really understand
Right.
what the Doctor of Business Administration does. Talk about that a little bit.
I definitely have crossed that bridge many times where you meet people and you tell them, hey, I have a DBA in healthcare management and leadership. And well, what is a DBA? Oh, it's a doctor of business administration. Well, what's the difference between that and a PhD? And so you explain that, okay, so an MBA shows that I have the operational knowledge and experience to run a corporation. DBA shows that I have the knowledge and operational experience to create an organization or to help a CEO bring their organization from one level to the next.
And one of the things that I tell people when I talk about the Doctor of Business Administration, I let them know that we're just like medical doctors.
Yeah.
When you come in the office, you will explain to the doctor that I am experiencing these symptoms. I've got a cough, I've got a scratchy throat, I've been sneezing, running a little slight fever, and the doctor will listen to how you are experiencing the problem. And then, based on the body of knowledge, will begin to run a series of tests
Yes.
to isolate your problem. To first of all, we need to isolate the problem area.
Yes.
And once we isolate it to the problem area, then we start drilling down. We start asking your employees. We start asking you critical questions that 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 will require you to provide additional information and insight. And once we start running tests and we see, well, this is out of tolerance and that's out of tolerance, when we get back to you, not only have we listened to you, but we have isolated what your problem is. It might not be what you think.
Yes,
Talk to
yes,
me about that, Dr. Eason.
yeah. And I mean, again, I feel like being a doctor of business administration, I feel like I am able to do the background research and take that information and bring it back to the CEO or to whoever, whoever I'm working for. And hey, this is what's going on. You may identify three or four causes, and this is what we're going to do. This is what I recommend we do to correct the problem. And give them what I have found to be effective is just give people two or three recommendations, not just one, and let them decide what the best course of action is. And then you make sure you're engaged in solving the problem, and all of that comes from the education that you gain along the way in your DBA program. You learn how to, to me, being a PhD, you're learning theory. And being a DBA, you're learning how to, apply the knowledge versus just, come up with more theories.
Real world situations. And one of the things that I have found is that you only present the data and you present your recommendations, but the patient must decide whether or not they're going to accept your advisement and take the medicine as prescribed
Yes.
or continue to do that which they feel is right. Dr. Eason, what can we do when they decide not to listen to the information?
Often I give like forceful backup when I make a recommendation. When I was in the Navy, after I got my PhD, DBA, I'm sorry, after I got my DBA, and I was still enlisted in the Navy. I was a E8, and I was on a ship in the Middle East. And so I was advising the commanding officer on a course of action that I felt we should take. I gave him the why, gave him, the five W's. This is what I recommend we do. He decided to go against my advice. And when we ran into issues with what his plan was, I came back in and I gave that forceful backup. It's not too late for us to change course and do what I suggested we do. Um, and then what I found myself having to do is oftentimes you got to get buy-in from the managers or the second level leaders and go in as a team and hey, this is what we need to do, or this is the consequence we're going to face. Um, Ultimately, what happened was I ended up informing my I had a peer who worked for my commanding officer. And I reached out to my peer and I informed her of, hey, this is what we're experiencing. This is my recommendation. Um, what do you think we should do? And she gave me the okay, hey, I think that your plan is good. I will brief my boss and make sure it's okay. And so when I went back to the commanding officer for a third time, I had the backing of his boss. And I didn't say it came from his boss. I said it came from my peer who worked for his boss, and he was able to buy into it more. Sometimes you find yourself, people don't want to listen to you if they are senior to you in the organizational hierarchy. So sometimes you have to enlist help from someone who they have no other choice but to listen to.
Well, I'll tell you, I just, I really, I just learned something in real time. That strategy is called forceful backup plans. I really enjoyed that. That's insightful. I really think you might have helped somebody that's watching the program right now, that they understand that when they run into this resistance with the supervisor, that you have to have a strategic plan to bypass them and get the support from their superiors, and then come back, and the person is feeling the heat but doesn't really realize and is forced to comply. That is very
Right.
masterful.
And you definitely have to be diplomatic when doing that, because you don't want your boss to feel like, okay, so you're going over my head. Again, when I did it, I make sure it came as a recommendation. Hey, my one of my peers who works for your boss recommends we take this course of action right now. Uh, and that way it doesn't feel like, hey, sir, you know what, I didn't agree with what you're doing, so I went over your head to your boss. And now you're dealing with all kind of other issues, like personality clashes and whatnot. You never want your boss to feel like you don't have their back, or you're not loyal.
Right, right. Well, escalation of effort is actually kind of common, a common thing that people do when they really don't understand that something is not working. If it's not working, then we have got to implement the best intervention that we can find to stop the damage, to
Yes.
mitigate the damage, to implement the turnaround, the corrective action. We find this even sometimes in our careers, in our personal lives. We are beginning to veer off the track, and we have to take that corrective action to get back on track. One of the reasons why I said that is because you had to experience a transition from the military to civilian life. And I was watching some of your posts, and I was listening to how you documented the transition, and it appeared to me that you were voicing some of your fears, but I saw that you made the transition, and I'd like you to tell us about these inner feelings and how you dealt with it.
But it's been about a little over 18 months since I transitioned out of the military. And for the most part, I have transitioned as far as financially, the physical part. For me, it's the mental part that I feel like I'm still holding on to, because that was my identity for 25 years. A quarter of a century, I was a sailor, and I really, I took that to heart. There are certain things that we do in the Navy. Like, for instance, if I'm wearing a jacket in uniform, that jacket is all the way zipped or it's three quarters of the way zipped. are the ways that. And still today, I find myself, I will not wear a jacket if it's not all the way buttoned up, or if it's not three-quarter of the way buttoned up. Walking on grass, you don't walk on grass on a military base unless you're going out to the field to exercise. But when I'm at work, I bypass the grass. It's a shortcut, but I'm gonna walk the sidewalk to get to the door. So it's little things that I'm trying to uncondition myself uh, to do. But then there are certain things about being in the military, like the respect, the teamwork, having a mission. Um, those are the things that I would like to hang on to, because I think that it helps you to be a better person. It helps you to be a better leader versus just going with the flow.
Right.
But for the most part, the transition was I transitioned during COVID. So a lot of my paperwork I didn't get until the last day that I was in the military. I got all of my paperwork that day, that afternoon. So I went through most of the day panicking, like, oh, I'm not gonna get my DD 214, or I'm not gonna be able to apply for my VA benefits. But everything came through last minute. I had already had a job lined up prior to getting out of the military. I had started applying for jobs a year out, and I actually did one interview, and the place that I chose, they held the job for me for 8 months while I was still transitioning out of the military.
Right.
And I actually started that job the week I retired on a Friday. I started that job though that Monday of the week that I was retiring.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Very good transition. How has your DBA education? How did it help you in the military?
It helped me as far as with researching, as far as decision making. Whenever I was given a task to do, it's easy to just recreate the wheel. But if you actually want to fix the problem and make sure that the problem doesn't, okay, I'm just going to fix it so that it's okay for the next 3 years while I'm here, or I can fix this problem so that it does not exist anymore. And that's what my DBA gave me in the military. It gave me I'm going to do that background research. I did a lot of, I wrote a lot of instructions and a lot of standard operating procedures after getting my DBA. And I did so because I wanted to make sure I was leaving, the organization better than, when I got there.
Right. Right. Well, let's talk about the National DBA Society. We're getting into corporate training, and we're getting into corporate certification. What's your take on the unique position we have in regards to corporate training?
I feel that the National DBA Society is the perfect organization to provide training to corporate leaders, because once again, we're taking operational experience and we're taking education and we're combining it to train organizational leaders on how to be effective at their job. We're teaching them how to look at problems, how to dissect problems, and to ensure that the decisions that you make, they're based on sound research, and either established principles, or hey, we're going to go out and we're going to create this new way of doing business. But although it's new, it's based on sound research. So, we're not leading organizations astray. I think that we are the perfect organization to help bring companies to the next level. The world is changing, it's becoming more global. Companies have to be able to compete in a global market. You have to be able to attract and retain talent, innovate, and you have to be able to integrate AI and other cutting edge technologies into your company. You can't do that just willy nilly. You have to have someone with education and experience that can help you take your company to that next level.
And when we talk about the unique value of having a doctor of business administration, it's not just the management side. It's also you have to have the research skills to isolate the problem. The problem that we have in most companies is that they have become blinded to the problems that they have normalized. And so you need a fresh pair of eyes to come
Mhm.
in, one that is not compromised by what they see as normal, that can
Right.
come in and have the wherewithal to drill down, find out what the real problems are, use the body of knowledge to articulate the extent and actually show you where this is going to go if you don't turn it around. Most of the MBAs, they don't really have the wherewithal to do the projections and let them know just how bad this situation can get. Dr. Eason, would you explain to us what happens when they don't listen?
Well, you also need someone who is willing to tell organizational leaders that you're wrong, and not just go with the flow. So when you have uh, a leader that is unwilling to listen or change, uh, then when they run into that brick wall, you know, usually the people that suffer is not the leader. When you have companies that make poor financial decisions, the people that suffer are the workers. Those are the people that get their pink slips. Those are the people that get their hours cut. Those are the people that suffer from the decisions that leadership makes. So our job as DBAs is to ensure that we are providing that full picture to leadership so that they know that, hey, the impact of your decision is going to be felt, and your legacy, this will be your legacy if you don't follow this course of action. Again, going back to my experience on the ship in the Middle East, there was an incident where I was providing information to the commanding officer, the executive officer, who is the number two person on the ship. I was the senior enlisted leader, so I was the senior enlisted person on the ship. And then I worked directly for the commanding officer, and I worked side by side with the executive officer. So a lot of times the executive officer and I would get together before we met with the commanding officer so that, hey, this is, this is the situation. This is my recommendation. He would give his recommendation. We would either agree to his recommendation, my recommendation, or we would come up with something new and we would go brief the commanding officer. Well, we did that one time, and the commanding officer decided, well, no, I'm going to go with my own decision. Um, and his decision ended with he and myself standing on the carpet at his boss's office uh, and having to explain why we chose to do, uh, what we did. And so after that encounter, we left out of the office, both of us very humbled and grateful that we didn't get fired because, that could have ended our careers right there. But I pulled him aside and I said, sir, you have to learn to listen to me. I'm here to work for you. If you can't take my advice, or if you don't want me to work for you, say so that I can go somewhere else and work for someone who will listen to me. And so we talked, and he explained how, in the past, things that he experienced causes him, to not trust other people. It wasn't me personally. He just had bad experiences with trusting people. So I did something stupid, Dr. Rivers. I stood in front of him, right? And I fell backwards. And, so he had caught me. And I said, I trust you, sir. I trust that you were not going to let me hit the ground. And that's what I'm asking you to do. And so after that, we would have our what we call triad meetings, and we would go in and we would talk to the commanding officer, and he would ask the XO and I, you know, well, what do you think we should do? You know, and we would tell him, hey, this is our recommendation. If he recommended something else, he would ask us, what do we think the outcome of his recommendation would be? So that's something that changed. He would ask what the outcome of his recommendation would be, and we would tell him, hey, this is what I see as the outcome of your recommendation. But we can this is what we would do to mitigate, the severity. Because sometimes, he was one of those that go, 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 go. I want to be, I want to be the name in operational excellence. And our thing was where you have to balance crew morale and you have to balance, the crew rest. Our sailors need, time to relax. You can't just be gone all the time.
Right.
So we were able to, come up with a happy medium, and I think all three of us were glad when we when we left that ship. But I think we all learned valuable lessons from it. I definitely learned how to interact with a boss that does not listen to others.
And see, this is the type of these are the type of case studies that once we bring the potential DBAs into the classroom, this is the type of information that they need to get while they are becoming a DBA. The National DBA Society has now went into accreditation, and we're working with colleges and universities around the world to look at their business courses, to look at their programs, to make sure that it's doing that that their programming is addressing the future needs of the business world, of corporations, of the global landscape of business. Uh, what are your thoughts in regards to where the programming, where the educational, where should the DBA program be headed right now?
I feel like the DBA program should definitely focus on some of the what I call power skills, such emotional intelligence. Uh, we definitely go in depth when it comes to research, when it comes to business analysis. But I think that we also should teach the next generation how to be resilient, um, how to communicate, and how to problem solve. And all of those are some things that you do gain during the research process. Um, but I think that specific, classes or maybe seminars and group activities, I think that would be beneficial to future DBA students.
When it comes to AI, we can see that this is a game changer.
Mhm.
This is really going to, at warp speed, change how we do business, provide very pertinent information that is required to really get all that should be included in our decision making. AI is going to change the entire dissertation process. Listen, 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 listen. This is powerful. This is powerful, and and how, how do you or what do you feel needs to change in regards to education and implementing AI?
Well, I had a talk with a good friend of mine, Dr. Vincent Soto. We had a we had a debate on the use of AI in resume writing, and he was against it, and I was for it. I thought that using AI to help write your resume was a brilliant tactic, especially if you have the experience and if you have the certifications and the education, why not use AI to help target specific job announcements? And I feel the same with um, education. I do think that AI is going to be used a lot in writing research papers. However, somebody has to do that legwork. The AI can't go out there and do the surveys when you are or the interviews when you're gathering data for your research paper. So I think AI is a great complement, but we have to be very careful that we don't allow the student to get too lax in using AI. Again, AI should just be used as a complement to the work that you have already done, to clean up a research paper or to clean up a dissertation rather than, writing it for you.
Well, one of the things that I found when I was doing my literature review, I would uh, I would read the abstracts and decide what articles should be included in my literature review. And just by reading the abstract, I could see what the research was about, what were their recommendations for future, what was the problem, what did they really study. So I think that the educational system is really going to have to get creative in regards to not just focusing on total recall to pull up information. Listen, we got smartphones, we got
Hmm.
AI, we've got the internet. So if I just need the information, I can get the information, but what we need to focus on is the ability to utilize that
Yes.
information and to make the intellectual decisions balancing the risks and the rewards. So I
Yes.
mean, just to be able to get the information, we can't stop them getting the information. The
Right.
question is, what happens when we put the information? Is this somebody that's going to use it wisely, or is this somebody that's going to use it foolishly, or is this somebody that's going to use it in an unethical way? Talk to me, Dr. Eason.
Yeah, and that's why I agree that we should, that's why I say that we should allow students to use AI. They're going to use it in their jobs. It's going to be used in, uh, when they are out in the field doing research. So teach them how to use it ethically. Teach them the correct way to use it while they are learning to be practitioners, so that when they become practitioners, they don't make ethical mistakes or plagiarize or do anything like that.
Right. And so, one of the things that we are about here at the National D.B.A. Society, we are about student involvement. We do have student chapters where we
Okay.
do bring them in and help them with their dissertation and pair them up with people that will kind of like share them on an unofficial way, So if they really want to ask a question, they have human resources available to do that,
Yes.
and I personally make myself available to do it as well. But what we're actually saying is that we want the National D.B.A. Society, we want this podcast to be the place where our members come and, like Dr. Eason, we can highlight who you are, what you have experienced, what your business is about, how we can get in touch with you. We like the university presidents and chief academic officers and the D.B.A. program director to come in and let's have a dialogue of where we going and what's good about your program and what type of student are you looking for to come to your university or your DBA program? The National DBA Society podcast, we are live. And we want you to know that we aim to make this platform very informative. We want to build the brand. We want to reach out to our stakeholders. And we want you to come and take this journey with us. This is needed. We have to increase the brand awareness and the brand loyalty of the DBA. And we want you to understand that we want you to make sure that you go to our website, www.dbasociety.org. Click on the link, become a member. We can help you publish, we can help you get certified, we can help you build a brand. We are here for you. We can come in and train your employees. Listen, my name is Dr. Melvin J. Rivers, and I'm the president and founder of the National D.B.A. Society. We are a non-profit registered corporation in the state of North Carolina. We are a 501c3 organization, and we are trademark protected. The United States Patent and Trade Office, we are trademark protected. How can you be the National DBA Society and not understand that you have to be trademark protected? So we are scholar practitioners here for you, and I want to thank Dr. Eason for coming on the show today. Dr. Eason, is there anything you'd like to tell our guests before you leave?
What I would definitely encourage anyone who is seeking a DBA or who has a DBA to join the National DBA Society. There's nothing more powerful than being connected with like minds and networking. And if you're a member of the National DBA Society, get involved, get the certified DBA practitioner certification. Uh, get involved. It's our organization. Let's make sure that we are the premier organization when it comes to DBA practitioners.
Amen. Well, Dr. Eason, again, I thank you for coming on the show. You have really been an inspiration to me, and I know that you've been an inspiration to our viewers. Well, again, thank you again. Thank you for watching the show. Come again next week. We will be going live at 11 a.m. on Saturday. Thank you very much, and we'll see you again.